All right, here is the second video, sections 1.1.3 and 1.1.4. 1.1.3, Changing Environments. Today, climate change is forcing us all to make some adjustments, from switching off lights to turning off faucets. Still, we're not the first humans to be affected by shifting climate patterns. A big change in their environment drove Paleolithic people to take steps that would transform the world forever. Main idea. A challenging climate forced Paleolithic people to move to new places and develop new tools to survive. Finding new homes. About 100,000 years ago, much of Africa had a very unstable climate. Some places became warmer and wetter, while others became hot and dry. These climate changes greatly altered the landscape in which Paleolithic people lived. Archaeologists have discovered that East Africa suffered a terrible drought between 100,000 and 75,000 years ago. This long period of dry, hot weather had a huge impact on the landscape. Rivers and vast lakes shrank and left people struggling for survival. The plants they ate became scarce, and the animals they hunted disappeared. At the same time, previously uninhabitable areas became livable and attractive. For example, the Sahara, which is one of the harshest deserts on Earth today, turned into an oasis or a green area where plants can grow. These environmental changes may have encouraged some of the 10,000 Paleolithic people living in East Asia at the time to leave their homeland. East Africa. They began their long migration or movement first to the Sahara in North Africa and then into the wider world, adapting to new conditions. As the people migrated, they responded to some of the challenges of their new environments by using technology. Technology is the application of knowledge, tools, and inventions to meet people's needs. The ability to capture and control fire was a particularly valuable technology. In addition to providing much needed warmth and light, fire helped Paleolithic people scare away enemies and drive animals into traps. Cooking meat made it easier to digest, and it killed bacteria. Paleolithic people had also used technology to develop tools that helped them adapt to new environments and climates. Simple tools had been used for millions of years, but Homo sapiens refined them to create a really effective toolkit. A hard stone called flint was especially useful as it could be split into hard, razor-sharp flakes. Early humans learned to design a tool to perform a particular task, such as chopping wood, carving meat, or skinning animals. Over time, tools grew increasingly advanced. Human-crafted fishhooks out of bone and sewing needles out of ivory. These specialized tools help our ancestors survive an amazing range of new habitats and climates, from Arctic areas to deserts. Here's comparing tools. The stone tool on the left, this one, was made about 100,000 years ago. The fishhook made from bone on the right dates back to about 42,000 years. You can see that early humans' technical skill had come a long way in about 60,000 years. 1.1.4 Moving into new environments. More than 60,000 years ago, the world witnessed movement on a scale never seen before as our restless ancestors began leaving Africa in waves. They set out on a worldwide migration that would permanently populate the entire planet. The main idea, between 70,000 and 10,000 BC, Paleolithic people migrated from Africa and settled throughout the world. The spread of early humans. As you have learned, the changing climate made Paleolithic people search for homes outside of Africa. They first migrated into Southwest Asia around 70,000 years ago. The region was warm and tropical and provided lush vegetation and abundant wildlife. In time, people spread across the rest of the world. From Asia, they reached Australia around 50,000 years ago. By about 40,000 years ago, early humans had arrived in Europe. Around 30,000 years ago, Homo sapiens reached Siberia on the edge of Eastern Asia. The last continents to be populated were the Americas. This final migration may have been made possible by the Ice Age. At its height, around 20,000 years ago, the Ice Age trapped so much water as ice that the sea level was nearly 400 feet lower than it is today. This trapped ice created land bridges that allowed humans to walk across continents. Many scientists have proposed the theory that hunters crossed the Beringia land bridge, which connected Siberia with North America, in a series of migration between 20,000 and 15,000 years ago. Scientists believe that during a period of glacial melting around 12,000 years ago, more travelers pushed southward through Central America and South America. However, new evidence has emerged that challenges this timing. The genes of some South American people suggest that their ancestors arrived from Australia 35,000 years ago, and Homo sapiens' footprint in Central America have been dated to 40,000 years ago. These findings may support the theory that the earliest Americans arrived in boats rather than a land bridge. There's a map, and it kind of shows. Let's see. That do anything? So there you go. Started here, moved along in the different directions. In search of food, people migrated to many of these places, possibly in hot pursuit of the animals they liked to eat. Some of these creatures were megafauna, which means large animals. Megafauna included the woolly mammoth, giant ground sloth like Sid from Ice Age, and the saber-toothed cat, which are shown below. There you go. It's basically the members of the Ice Age cast. The woolly mammoth, a relative of the modern elephant, was one of the largest megafauna. It stood between 9 and 11 feet tall and weighed as much as 6 tons. Its curved tusks grew up to 13 feet long. At 5 tons, the giant ground sloth wasn't much smaller than the woolly mammoth. However, the sloth was fairly harmless. It mostly used its long claws to tear leaves and bark, not other animals. There was more reason to fear the saber-toothed cat with its 2 huge sword-like teeth. This creature was smaller than the modern lion, but much heavier, weighing more than 400 pounds. These megafauna became extinct or died out about 11,000 years ago. Many scientists believe they were overhunted or wiped out by climate change as the Ice Age began to come to a close. Humans hunted herds of woolly mammoths in northern Asia and parts of Europe and North America. The giant ground sloth and saber-toothed cat live primarily in North and South America. And that is the reading.